I grew up in a city called Medford, which is just north of Boston in Massachusetts. I was raised in an Italian Catholic family, and I practiced the things of the Catholic religion. I never read the Bible. The only thing I knew about the Bible was what I heard during the Catholic Mass. Looking back on things, I realized not only did I not know the Lord, not one Catholic that I came in contact with knew the Lord either. When I was in high school, I was still practicing Catholicism. I went to a Catholic high school. In my junior year, my older brother was killed in an automobile crash. The driver of a Cadillac was drunk. He became airborne and landed upon my brother's Austin Healey, killing him instantly. The effect that had on me over the long term, I realized that effect was devastating. It did something deeply inside me that to this day, I still don't fully understand. I was seeing a young lady at that time, and we saw each other for 4 years. As I went to college, we were dating each other, and were engaged to be married. In my second year of college, I found her with another young man. That, of course, ended the relationship. Between those two incidents, I was under a cloud. It was a dark time for me. I felt that I was perpetually walking in darkness, in a kind of gloom. It was just a terrible time. It was hard at school, hard at home, and inwardly I felt quite alone. One day in the spring of 1970, I was walking across the campus, and suddenly the gloom lifted. It was like the sky opened up over me, and I felt good for a change. I felt that everything was okay. Everything would be all right. But as quickly as that sensation came, it left, and the gloom returned. I didn't know what it was, but I desired for that to be permanent. I had no idea how to regain that experience. By that time in my life, I had become an avowed atheist. I declared, there is no God. And I lived my life as if there was no God. That summer, one of my college friends and I decided to drive across country from Massachusetts to California. As we came to Wyoming, it was getting to be evening. We had eaten supper, and we decided to drive a ways further. We were in the mountains when we hit an intense thunderstorm, lightning everywhere, and severe rain. I was coming to a very sharp right-hand corner when a bolt of lightning struck very close to us to the left. I looked to the left and I said to my friend, "Bobby, did you see that?" All I heard out of my right ear was a very meek voice coming from him saying, "Look out, look out." I turned back, and there, across the road, was a herd of cattle. As I approached them, I leaned on the horn to get them to move aside, but instead of doing that, they drew closer to one another. There seemed to be no way for me to get through them. We were going 40, 50 miles an hour. At that time, we didn't have airbags. We only had seat belts. And it looked like we were going to hit them. All of our belongings were in the back seat. If we had hit at that speed, not only would we have had damage from in front of us, but also from behind us. We would have been greatly injured, if not killed. At the seemingly last possible instant, an invisible hand grabbed my right hand, my right wrist, as it was on top of the steering wheel, and yanked it, first left, then right. The car went right between the cattle, missing them all. My friend exclaimed, "Good driving." All I could say was, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me." My eyes were open to an invisible realm in which beings I did not see existed. And I also realized there was someone behind the scenes caring for me and looking out for me. From that moment, I stopped being an atheist. After a few months on the West Coast, I went back to Massachusetts and back to school. That following summer, a couple of friends and I decided to drive down to Cape Cod to a picnic that a group of friends was having. Somehow or another, we took a wrong turn. We ended up on the wrong side of Cape Cod. Not knowing how to get to where we were going, and seeing that it was so late in the afternoon, we decided just to stop at a nearby beach, go sit on the beach for a while, and enjoy the sun. We pulled off the highway, drove over to some beach, I don't even remember the name of it, parked our car, walked out onto the beach, maybe a few hundred feet. We put down a couple of towels and sat down. To my shock, there in front of me, not more than 15 or perhaps 20 feet away, was my old girlfriend. I just whispered to my friends, "I can't believe it. I can't believe it." Think about the chances of such a thing happening. Having to take a wrong turn, picking a random beach, going to a random spot, and there's my old girlfriend. I didn't speak to her. She didn't speak to me. After a while, she and a friend she was with got up and started to walk off the beach. I watched as she did, and then, again to my shock, they stopped. She turned around and walked back to me and greeted me. We had a short conversation and then parted ways. Again, I thought, what is going on? How could this happen? It was more than clear that behind the scenes, someone was arranging things for some reason. I didn't know what that was. In the spring of 1972, as I walked across campus, there were posters hanging saying the ultimate trip. By that time, I was seeking. I didn't know what or who I was seeking, but I certainly was. I had attended a class or a seminar on Buddhism or Oriental religion. I had tried various things, none of which satisfied, none of which struck me as real, as genuine. So when I saw this poster, Ultimate Trip, I said to myself, whatever that is, I want it. That night, I went to where there was a gathering, and they were showing a video of some young people being baptized, believing in Jesus and being baptized. They asked if anybody was interested, that we would stay around so we could talk. I stayed, and I didn't talk. I argued. Whatever they said, I argued with it. Argue. And it seemed to me I won all the arguments. But when they left, they were happy, and I wasn't. One thing they said to me, one of them said to me, unless you let Jesus into your heart, you're going to burn in hell. That night, I slept at school in a kind of dormitory, and usually there were a number of people around, but not that night. It was only me. And as I lay in the top bunk of a bunk bed, I couldn't sleep. I was bothered. I turned this way, that way. I just couldn't get to sleep. Those words haunted me. Unless I let Jesus into my heart, I was going to hell. Finally, I sat up in the bed and I said out loud, Jesus, if you're not in my heart, come into my heart. I was then able to go quickly to sleep. I graduated from college shortly after that, and for the next year, I was wondering. I felt there must be something more. I had no idea what, but I felt I needed something more. It was not that I needed a job. It was not that I needed some kind of preoccupation. I needed something. In the spring of '73, I started going to a Bible study at the college I had been attending. And after a few weeks, it became apparent to the man running the Bible study that I had been reading the Bible and had been able to pick up quite a bit from it. But in one of the Bible studies, he asked me to stay after the study so that he could talk with me. Afterwards, he said, Paul, it seems to me you have a problem. I looked at him and I said, yes, I do. He said, what is it? And I said, I don't know. He said, do you believe Jesus is God? And I said, I don't know. Some say he isn't, like the Jehovah's Witnesses. Some say he is, like the Catholics. He said, in this respect, the Catholics are right. He asked a few more questions. Then finally he stopped. He reached in his pocket and pulled out a little pocket New Testament. Oh, about so big, like that. He pulled it out, put it on a table. He said, here, this is yours. It's a free gift. I looked at it, and I looked at him, and I looked back at it, and inwardly I pondered, should I take it or shouldn't I? It seemed to me in my life, every gift had strings attached. I thought, what could be attached to this? As I considered the situation, I felt a presence about me, calming me, keeping away any kind of evil thoughts. Finally, the atmosphere being cleared of everything, I was left with a simple choice, take it or not. I decided. I reached out my hand to take that New Testament, and as I did, I realized it was a free gift, and I started to weep. I turned to the man and said, no one has ever done that to me before. That moment changed my entire life. It was then that God touched the deep part of my being. How thankful I am to the Lord, to our Father, and to that brother.